Hi folks, Bob Collins for Diver Supply. In this video, I'm going to be talking about these four side breather Octos, or you may know them as Safe Seconds. And I'm also going to be talking about the difference between using a side breather versus the standard style Octo you see on this rig right here. Stick with me. The four side breather Octos I have here are the Maury's side breather Octo. I've got the Aqualung ABS down here. Over here, I've got the Sherwood Remora. And down here, I've got the Apeks Egress side breather. Now, there's a lot of similarities between these four side breathers, but there's also some significant differences in these, and I'm going to take them one at a time and talk about them. At the end of the video, I'm going to talk a little bit about using the side breather style Octo versus a normal style or designed Octo that we see as our primary second stage. So let's take a look at these. The first one we're going to look at is the Maury's, and Maury's has done a nice job designing this particular side breather. It follows the lines of what we've seen before with what they call the Viper, except this has a few design specifics that are a little bit more today than, say, the Viper was in the past. So what we're seeing here is we see our purge here on the front. Now this can actually be taken off, turned, and put back the other way. So, and of course, some places in the world, folks will tend to use their Octos on their left versus their Octos on their right. So this can be reversed. This can also be used on a redundant air source if somebody wanted to utilize that. But it's a good looking piece. It, like I said, it's got the purge here. You've got a really nice 36-inch braided hose, and that's one of the differences we're going to see on this one versus the others. And this uses a design that Maury's calls Vlad, and we've seen this on like the 82 and some of the other Maury's style regulators, second stages. And what I'm talking about, I think you can see this little venturi that comes off right here. I'll try to get a close-up here in this camera, but this venturi that comes in here, when you breathe off of this, it causes a little bit of an extra venturi effect that helps provide air to you as the diaphragm opens or pushes in to open and provide air to you. The exhaust is located here on the side, and so the hose comes in on one side and the exhaust goes out on the other side. It also comes with this neat little mouthpiece here. A lot of times people will put a clip on here and attach that to their D-ring and their triangle to help them provide. And it's pretty easy to get off. All you'll do is pull your second stage off, and that leaves that attached to your BC. Good looking piece. One of the things I would say on this one is that if and when it's presented, if it's presented in a position that is slightly tilted with the hose down and the exhaust up, then there could still be just a little bit of water in this part of the Octo as you get ready to breathe in. So making sure that when you present this Octo, you present it in a slightly down angle, whether you're presenting it like this or you're presenting it like this with that slight down angle toward the exhaust. I think it would be beneficial. I've seen that in the Viper style version of this type design, so just keep that in mind. Let's take a look at the next one. This one is the Aqualung ABS. This is a very popular style side breather octo out there. I'll talk about the price points on these in just a few minutes, but it is more of what I think you would call a puck style versus the one like we just saw with the front purge. The purge is actually on the top, and the vent is here on this side. Your mouthpiece, of course, is located right there, and the inlet is here. It comes with this nifty little plastic attachment. Most of the time these get lost, but you can change it to a standard octo holder if you like. Now, one of the nice things that I particularly like about this style of octo is that when it's mounted and you reach down and put your hand on it and bring it forward and present it, it's just like you're holding a bit of a pistol grip, and you just grab it, pull it forward. I tend to keep my elbow down so the hose extends over your shoulder or over your arm as you present it out there. And it can be presented either this way or it can be presented this way, totally up to you and the circumstance. We have to remember that when we're talking about octos, it's not always the diver you see coming toward you. And I think sometimes that might be a little misread as far as people making the suggestions, oh, they're going to come up and take the one out of your mouth. Well, if somebody's 20 feet away and they're swimming toward you, then wouldn't it be easier to just reach down, grab your octo, pull it loose, and present it out to that person coming to you? And that way you've already got that octo extended out there. Now, we also have to keep in mind that if you're swimming along and your dive buddy's over here, he's over here, and the yellow hose is here, he's going to recognize that yellow hose pretty quickly. And of course, if you and your buddy have been checking air back and forth, it may not necessarily be your buddy that's coming to you looking for air. I tell a quick story about the fact that I was diving with an advanced group down in West Palm. And there was 7 of us, and there was like 14, 15 people on the dive boat. And on the first dive, a diver swam by me, and he was breathing off of his yellow hose octo right at the beginning of the dive. And I looked at him and I said, "You okay?" And he gave me a good okay. He wasn't my student. And he gave me a good okay, so that's fine and dandy. I did my due diligence. Now, when we got back up on the boat during the surface interval, of course, me being me, I stepped over to him and I said, "So I noticed you were doing your entire dive breathing off your yellow hose octo." And I said, "Why are you doing that?" And he said, "Well, my primary doesn't work." I was a bit shocked, and I went to the boat crew, got him another reg set so that he had a complete functioning reg set up, so that if somebody that was trained, which probably 85% of the people in the world are trained to look for yellow hose octos, were to come to him, they wouldn't be fighting him or whatever to get that yellow hose octo with his primary hanging there useless. But one of the things I like to remind everybody is the fact that you need to practice occasionally, maybe once a year, out of air scenarios with your dive buddy so that you stay sharp on being able to remember exactly what you do during an air sharing exercise. But anyway, that's the puck style Aqualung. Let's take a look over here. Now this happens to be a very similar style of Octo. And this particular one, now there is a hose in here, a yellow hose. Now I will say this, the hose that is with this Aqualung is a rubber 36-inch hose. This is the Apeks Egress, and this particular Octo has a very similar look and style to what you see right here with the Aqualung. You can see they're very, very similar. One of the big differences on the Egress is the fact that it is a balanced second stage. So this is probably going to breathe a little bit better at depth and in a little bit more of a demanding situation. Of course, if somebody's out of air, they might be pretty panicked and they're really processing and really demanding a lot of air. So I would tend to recommend the Apeks Egress if I was going to recommend any of these per se, but they all work just fine. I actually have dove and do a lot of training utilizing the Aqualung ABS version. I prefer the braided style because it's so much more flexible in presenting. And this one also has mouthpiece here, vent on this side, purge button on top, and of course the bottom is just a solid piece of plastic there. So again, when you attach it, this would be very similar to what the ABS, so you would grab it and you could just pull it out, present it, and it's already perfectly positioned for that other diver to take either this way or this way for you. All right, let's look at the last one. Now this particular unit is called the Sherwood Remora, and it has a very sleek design. It is a kind of a puck, what I'll call a puck style also. And it actually has a vent on this side and a vent on this side. So it has two vents. The mouthpiece extends directly off and your purge button is here on the top of the puck style. And this one is kind of neat that comes with a magnetic Octo holder. Some people tend to poo-poo the magnetic Octo holders. I tend to be a big fan of them. So the Remora is kind of a unique unit. It also comes with a 36-inch rubber hose. Very sleek and interesting. I think it would mount probably the same and present in a very similar fashion to the Egress and to the ABS versus the other one. So that's a quick look at 4 side breather style Octos. And I told you I'd kind of do a little discussion about price-wise. So the Apeks is going to be slightly higher, and of course it is one of the better, being a fully balanced second stage. So that's a look at side breather style Octos. So appreciate you watching and hope to see you again soon. Thanks a lot.